Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to this special broadcast on Sansad TV, part of the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav series on Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha. As we commemorate 75 years of our independence, it's important to acknowledge that this celebration is steadfast to those who've been instrumental in this progressive journey in various fields. In this episode of Bharat Ek Soch, India at 75, we turn our focus towards the phenomenal rise of Indian cricket, thanks to the legends who elevated the game to greatness. One such legendary cricketer that India has been fortunate to have is Sunil Gavaskar, one of the finest and most iconic batsmen that not just India but the world cricket has seen. The first cricketer to have scored 10,000 test runs, the first batsman to go past the 29 centuries scored by Sir Don Bradman, the first Indian batsman to play 100 consecutive test matches, the only Indian to score hundreds in both innings of same test 3 times, the list goes on. Sunil Gavaskar scripted many glorious records with the bat for India at a time which was a tougher era of cricket compared to now. It's an honor and privilege to be welcoming the legend himself on the program today to speak about his legacy, some significant memories from the time when he played for India, the transformations that the game has seen, and so on. Mr. Gavaskar, welcome to Sansad TV. Thank you very much for your time. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I think it's a wonderful occasion, isn't it? The 75th anniversary of our independence. It is an occasion to celebrate. It is an occasion to look back on what we have done, also to look forward to making India the greatest country in the world. So yes, very, very happy to be part of this program today.
Absolutely. And since you're someone who's contributed significantly to this journey, to Indian cricket's phenomenal rise over the decades, something that I can't believe is, for people of my generation, we've grown up watching and admiring most of Sachin Tendulkar. So today, to be sharing the screen with the legend who inspired Sachin Tendulkar, it's beyond comprehension for me. All we know about you has been through some video clips, the accounts written by sports veterans and journalists of those times. So let me take the opportunity today to take you down memory lane, ask you about your cricketing journey. For a cricketer who earned the moniker of the Little Master of Indian cricket, how did the cricketing journey begin, sir?
Well, I was fortunate to be born in a cricketing family, you could say that, because my uncle Madhav Mantri, my mother's elder brother, he played 4 test matches for India. In the 1950s, he was a wicketkeeper batsman. He went to England in 1952. He went to Pakistan in 1955. He was captain of the Mumbai Ranji Trophy team for a few seasons. Went on to become a selector. Went on to become president of Mumbai Cricket Association. And he was also the manager of the Indian team in 1990, when young Sachin Tendulkar got his first ever Test century. I mean, he got 51 eventually, but that was the first one. So I had a cricketing background because of my uncle. My father played a bit of club cricket as well. And so the interest was, straight away from childhood in the game of cricket.
Well, India has been fortunate to have had a player like you. You've earned so many laurels for the country. But, about you, I've also heard that you brought in a new energy to Indian cricket. In fact, in many ways, you transformed Indian batsmanship. So help us and our viewers. In fact, you could take us through about your journey, about what your approach was like towards the game, and what kept you going in an era which was completely different from what it is today.
Well, let me say that, there were several tremendous batsmen, from the beginning. When you look at when India began its test journey in 1932 with, the immortal Colonel C.K. Naidu, the one and only Lala Amarnath, Mohammad Nisar, Amar Singh, and then followed, I'm just taking a few names, obviously I can't take everybody's name. Then Vijay Merchant, Vijay Hazare, Vinu Bankad. Paulie Umriga, Vijay Manjrekar. There were so many examples in front, so many inspirational figures who, made you want to play like them. And what generally happens with the next generation is they try and learn from the previous generation. They should be looking to learn from the previous generation. I did a lot of chatting with these legends of the game. to try and glean from them, what was their temperament like, how did they overcome difficulties, how did they overcome situations where they were not getting runs or not getting wickets, and trying to learn from each of them. So that was a great learning experience. And I think the fact that I struggled actually to be selected for the Mumbai Ranji Trophy team. My uncle Madhav Mantri was in the selection committee, and he would recuse himself. He would be go out, and maybe because of the fact that he was there or whatever it is, despite scoring runs, I seldom got picked for Mumbai. So that made me all the more determined. All the more determined that if my century is not enough of a knock on the selection committee's door, then I've got to score a double century so that that the knock is louder, and then maybe even score a triple century where it's not only a knock, a big knock, but breaking the door down. So I think that is what actually helped me. I think in a way that was a blessing in disguise that I wasn't picked straight away, because that made me realize the value of hard work, value of not taking things for granted.
So you've spoken about the several things that you learned from the cricket greats that you just named. But through your illustrious cricketing journey, Mr. Gavaskar, what was your strongest asset? Because cricket back then was not as attractive as it is today. There's lots of money today, there's lots of fame today, but back then things were quite different.
I would imagine that I think determination and concentration, these were two of my strengths. Determination not to give up. And I think I was blessed with concentration. I think it's a God-given gift. I do believe that in a room which is packed with, maybe even hundreds of people or thousands of people, if I'm reading something, I'll be able to read without, being disturbed by all the noise around me. So I think concentration was God-given, but I had determination. And I think that determination came because I wasn't being selected for the Mumbai team for 3 years. I made my debut, and then after that, for 3 years, I was not in the Mumbai team, and the last couple of years I was not even in the squad, not even in the squad of 14. So I think that determination certainly helped me.
And if I were to talk to you about some of the most significant memories that you carry even today, if you were to look back from the time when you played, what would be the top 3 significant memories that you would like to talk about?
Well, the topmost of them all is the 1983 World Cup win. I think nothing can better that. That's been the greatest cricketing moment of my life. It has been a moment to cherish. It's a moment to reflect on and rejoice in it. It's been absolutely fantastic. That would be number one. Then I think the wins in 1971, my debut series in the West Indies, where we beat the West Indies for the first time, followed a couple of months later where we beat England in England for the first time. So these would be the top memories. And then, of course, beating Pakistan in India in 1979, 80, when I was a captain. I think that these are the 3 outstanding memories as far as my cricketing career is concerned.
Of course, your records are innumerable, and if we keep talking about them, I think half an hour is too short a time. But, since you've also been associated with cricket, even after your retirement, you've closely followed the game. What are the kind of transformations, the kind of changes that you see from the time you played to now? And how has technology changed the game, for the good, for the bad, according to you?
I think it's for the good. I think it is definitely for the good because it's actually helping with equipment. It's helping with physical conditioning, physical fitness. So definitely, I think technology has been a great boon as far as cricket is concerned. I think the difference is the enormous self-belief that the Indian cricketer has today. When we played, there were a few in the team who didn't quite believe in themselves. That is something that you will not find with any Indian cricketer today. Any Indian cricketer, even if he's playing the first time, he's got the confidence. And I think you've got to thank the IPL for that, because what the IPL has done, it's given budding Indian youngsters the opportunity to rub shoulders with some of the legends of the game in the same change room, not just legends from India, but legends from different countries, to observe them, to observe how they practice, to observe how they try and, cope with difficult situations, how they go about training, so how they go about physical conditioning. So all these things have meant that the awe factor that, sometimes we have when we played against some of the legends of the game, that awe factor is just not there for the Indian cricketer today. He's so self-confident, and that's such a wonderful sight to see.
Absolutely, but even though technology has changed the game for the better, we know it cannot be 100%, and that's where umpire's call has been a huge debating point. What's your opinion on the kind of controversies, on the kind of concerns related to umpire's call in cricket?
When the umpire's call or the referral came in, I was the chairman of the ICC Cricket Committee, and when this was debated at quite length, and my view at that point was that the over the years, this game has had a tradition of not challenging the umpire's decision. But if an umpire does want to refer it to a TV umpire, then that is fine. Or if the TV umpire wants to intervene before the next ball is bowled and say, "Look, hello, hang on a minute, maybe let's have a look at the decision again." I think that should be the way to go forward, because you could have a situation where sometimes a player is there and in the tension of the match, he might have forgotten that the two reviews that you're allowed have been used up by his team. And if he goes and challenges, it could look as if he's challenging the umpire's decision and the match referee would come into play. So my view about the umpire's call is that it should be really between umpires, and the players should not be part of it. The players should just accept the umpire's decision and take it.
Talking about the future, we've spoken about your records, your illustrious career, your contribution to the game of cricket, the transformation that the game has seen over the decades. But now talking about the present and the future, of course, there have been several changes in formats. There have been several newer formats that have been introduced. How do you see that changing the original format of the game? Has it also impacted, the fun aspect associated to the game, the bonhomie that, players of your time would enjoy, and something that's now gone amiss?
Well, I think if you look at the impact, it's been a positive impact, in my view, because when the 50 overs game first came in, everybody said, "Oh, what's going to happen to the Test match game?" But you saw that when in a Test match, in a day's play, teams were scoring maybe 200 runs. Suddenly, because of the 50 overs game, teams were now suddenly scoring 40, 50 runs, more 250 runs in a day, 260 runs in a day, because they were playing a lot more shots, which they had got used to in the 50 overs game. Then when the T20 format came in, the T20 format has energized 50 overs format, because at one time when the 50 overs game started in the early 70s to almost early 90s, 225, 250 was thought to be a good score. Today, with the advent of T20, 350 is even not thought of as a good score, and a lot of teams can chase them easily. So there has been that positive impact in the mindset of the players. Also, I think what these formats have done, and it's all come into Test cricket as well. You see new shots being played, shots which we didn't see earlier on in Test match cricket. The scoop, the reverse switch hit, you name it. Every little shot is coming. The bowling aspect as well, the slower bouncer, the back of the hand delivery, the knuckleball, they're all being used in all formats of the game. Sorry. And therefore, I think it's had a very, very positive impact on the game. Cricket now is entertainment. And we've got to accept that cricket is entertainment. So there will be, all these, innovations are being tried. And I think they are only
Absolutely.
getting in more and more people
In this
interested.
cricket-loving nation, it is not just an entertainment, but a celebration to say, we've been fortunate to have iconic batsmen like you who set the tone for future generations. And now with this generation of players also inspiring others, there's no dearth of budding cricketers in our country. But I'll take one final question from you, Mr. Gavaskar, on, the kind of increased competition in the game, the newer formats, and the willpower, the determination that the new breed of cricketers must possess in order to make a mark like you have for the country.
Yes, I think they do. I think everybody recognizes that if you play the highest level of the game, which is the Test match, you will be recognized and remembered more for that than for whatever you do in the limited overs format, be the 50 overs format, the T20 overs format, and that will always be the case, because truly a 5-day game is a real test, not just of your technique but also of your temperament. While the limited overs, the white ball games or the pink ball games will always be for entertainment purposes. So I think as long as that balance is understood, I think the game is going to be fine. Absolutely nothing to worry about.
Certainly, and with legends there to guide the future generation of players, as well as you have a lot of other, great cricketers in the country, I'm sure the future is in bright hands. I'll have to wrap up the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Gavaskar, for joining us on the program today, sharing your thoughts with us and our viewers. Absolute pleasure to have you once again on the program. So that's it from us on the special broadcast, viewers. Thank you very much for your time as well. See you same time next week with another special episode next week. Take care of yourselves until then, and keep watching Sansad TV.